Welcome to Batman Unmasked. Spoiler alert! We are about to talk all about Batman, the Telltale series, episode 1. You have to play that before you watch this, otherwise you ruin everything. And you want to see Laura Bailey, you don't get to see her yet. Play the game. I'm your host, Greg Miller from KindaFunny.com, but we have way more important people here. This is Brandon Jones from Easy Allies.
Hey, everybody. I'm wonderful.
Clap for this man.
Yeah.
How are you, man? Thank you for
great.
coming out.
Oh, man. Sit down with you and talk about Batman?
I know, right?
Twist my arm.
Pretty easy job.
Yeah.
Over here,
Yeah.
the lovely Laura Bailey.
Hi.
Catwoman in this game.
Yeah.
Give me a meow.
Meow.
Nailed it. That's how she got it. That
Yep.
was it. And then a man who needs no introduction,
But you should probably introduce
Zach Keller. He wrote Batman episode 1. Hey, how are you?
Doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about all the decisions we made, how you became Catwoman, how you wrote it and everything else. But what I want to start with is Brandon Jones.
Yeah.
You're the most important person on this panel.
Oh, well, okay. No pressure.
To be clear, Telltale has paid you $0.00.
Correct.
What did you think of Batman, the Telltale series, episode 1?
I liked it. I loved it. I thought it was really great.
Ringing
I
endorsement.
and I actually am very picky about my Batman. Batman's my favorite anything. He's my favorite character or series of stories and series of characters. And I get very picky about, like, well, what are you doing with this character? Or what are you doing? And they actually made some very bold choices.
Right, that was the thing about, for me, playing it, where it was the fact that, yeah, like, they're taking what we know about Batman, but still twisting it. And then I hope they continue to mangle it.
And I think it's a nice 50-50 share. You get the origin story of supposedly, you know, I'm assuming we get some origins moving forward in later chapters, but you know, some characters we introduced, they're already, you know, the characters that we know and love, and some we kind of get to see them come into the form that we assume they're going to, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And just, I think right off the bat, you really set the scene that, like, we're going to change things. Like, there's going to be some things you might not be comfortable with as a Batman fan, but why not? I mean, we get an
Right.
opportunity to tell a story here. Let's do it.
Yes, I mean, was that tough to write, Zach? Because you have to go through and you have all these different decisions, and then there's so many choices that pop up, and I'm like, that's not Batman.
Yeah.
Batman wouldn't do that. And then but you can.
I think the other thing too is that, like, there are so many generations of Batman fans and so
Yeah.
many Batman comics and series that, like, we had to think about which fan was going to play this game, and we wanted it to be something for everybody. And there are inspirations from Frank Miller, from Scott Snyder, all the way up to here, but we also looked outside of that and went to, like, also like Mad Men and West Wing, and, like, what can we mash up to make our version
Sure.
of what Batman is going to be? And we wanted to express the wide range that is Bruce Wayne and Batman in the toy space. So it goes from as simple as, do you shake the hand of a villain who's in your manor, or how do you deal with Catwoman as well? It's like, you have a private life and a public life, and I think all is on display in this game.
Yeah.
Make out with her. You make out with her every time.
There you
She's
go.
dating my best friend. All
this
right?
is true. You know what? It's a triangle. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna keep being the good Batman that I should be. Not the Batman impaling people on
for
pieces of
you.
rebar. That was like, that was insane. Like when you get up there with Falcone and you throw him on that.
I think one thing that was important for this game too is it's not just Falcone who was going to notice that. We want to make sure that Gotham was watching as
Sure.
well. So the choices that you make throughout the season, it's not going to be just like your friends and family. It's everybody in the city. You're literally changing the city with your decisions.
Well, that's what was fascinating about it. I mean, leading into it with episode 1 of this show, Batman Unmasked. We talked about, the fact that Bruce's decisions, Batman's decisions, they'd shape how the city saw you. And you bring up, if you're going to shake Falcone's hand in the beginning, like that was such a moment of like, did you shake it?
No. Well, I mean, it depends on the save file. I'm playing this multiple times, and I definitely have
But
the
in
save
your
where it's
canon
just,
save,
No,
what did you
save
do?
one. No. of
Hell
course
no.
not.
Yeah, me neither. He puts it out and I'm like, no.
Not
no.
in my house. Get out
Yeah,
of my house.
exactly. And that was the thing of like, watching the party stop and all eyes go on you, let alone, get to the end and throw him down or chain him up and watch how Gotham's going to react to that.
And that's one of the things too about writing these series is you have to be a mind reader to predict what the player is going to want to choose. Like for that situation is like, he is a host, for this
Yeah.
big fundraiser. Should he shake the hand and kind of play that role so that he doesn't piss off Harvey? Or does he dismiss it and pull his hand back and piss Harvey off instead? Like, we make our choices based on how the people around you are going to feel about it, and that's what makes them powerful.
Well, that was the internal debate for me with my save, right? Where it was like the fact that like, okay, F this guy, I'm Batman, I know he's bad, but then it is I'm Bruce Wayne playboy, like, you know what I mean? The movies and the comics have done such a great job of showing, like, Bruce Wayne has to be this buffoon, right? But to actually be put in that shoe.
And almost the more he plays that up, like the more, like mistakes that he makes, the more you would look at him, even if someone, because this has happened a lot in stories where someone will actually tell a villain, I know he's Bruce Wayne, and the villain won't believe, like, there's no way. That guy.
That guy's too stupid.
It's just, he doesn't seem like a strong guy. He doesn't seem like somebody who would, have the inner strength, to do something like that. So it's kind of tricky. It's like, do I want to make Bruce a villain because, he could, potentially pull that off, or is that going to, is that going to bite me later on down the road?
Yeah,
we'll see.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I know. You never know with you guys.
What's kind of fun too is that like in the Batman legacy, it's like, does Bruce ever admit to anybody that he's Batman? And you're gonna be able to play that in some capacity. It's like, how much do you let that inner rage like boil to the surface, or do you keep it hidden from everybody else?
Well, that was the toughest part. I mean, in the billiards room, right, where Falcone's talking to you and he's insulting your parents. Like, I'm taking it personally offensive. Yeah. And I'm like, no, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? I started getting agitated playing. That's what Telltale does. Now here's the thing, Laura Bailey.
Yeah, what?
We're talking about us being Batman.
Right.
You're always Catwoman.
I am. I don't get to be Batman.
No. Never. Do you play it? Do you
I
play the games?
haven't played this one, but Travis has played it through like 5 times.
Sure.
And so he's
Your husband and Harvey Dent.
also Harvey Dent. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually really annoyed with me for not having played it yet.
Yeah, but you're busier than
But
him.
it felt no.
Yeah,
but
you're like a real working actor, and he's like, oh, I stumbled into a VO booth.
Sure. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. It feels like weird playing it sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So talk to me then about how you find your Catwoman, right? Because I have my save, I have my Batman, and
Yeah.
that's who it is. But for you to actually play this character, and then I guess even with her, like the permutations of reacting to different.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things about doing a Telltale game, and one of the most fun things as well is creating a character that stands alone, but will react and change depending on the player's choices, and still it's a cohesive character regardless, So you don't want it to be floundering halfway through and going, where am I? Who am I? I don't know. What did Bruce do early? I don't know who I am. Yeah, it's fun.
But is it tough? Because I feel like when you go in to record it, do you do like a playthrough where like if I was being good Batman, you'd get all these things, but if I was suddenly being aggressive Batman, no?
You go back and forth,
Oof,
which is
tough.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun because a lot of times we've been recording together.
Yeah.
Which is fun to go in with Troy and actually get to play through. I mean, like 20 pages of dialogue, which normally you don't get to do in a recording session. And we'll just like do entire scenes, and we'll know that this branch of dialogue comes off of that bit of dialogue.
Oh,
so
wow.
we both know to bring it back to this level and then build it back up and then bring it back to that level and build it back up. So it's nice to be able to act off of somebody as talented as Troy and who understands the way it works as much as he does as well.
It's funny you mention this. I believe we have a clip of you guys in the VO booth doing your thing. What's a VO room? It'd be weird to have 3 people in a little booth.
Do you really?
Yeah.
But that's for we filmed that in like episode 3, so you can't show that.
Now we can show it because I'm Greg Miller.
Me first then?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I am Catwoman, after all. Right? Right? I feel like I've never seen this side of Selina before in any property. There's so much in between the lines, and there's so much in the character interaction that finding her myself has been really cool. Lately, we've been getting to record with Troy or Travis, which is such a blessing. I like the how offended she is that he thinks she's owned. You can live and breathe, and you guys can maybe ad-lib a little bit together. If Troy does a little funny line, you get my chuckle at the beginning of the line.
Do you need another one?
There's those reactions that you don't get outside of an ensemble recording. Hey! They cut around all the dialogue. You didn't get to see any of the secret stuff.
We don't want it to be ruined.
Yeah, that's
We don't want to
smart.
ruin the episode 2.
I like it.
Out soon. So what is that? I mean, you say in the video that you've never really seen a Selina like this.
It's true.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, you get to see this this aspect of her that hasn't been revealed in previous iterations. I mean, in ours, you don't really get the backstory from like her origin story. You don't know,
Sure.
Is she the dominatrix, Selina? Is she the orphan,
Yeah.
Selina? To me, she is just bored. She is so over everything and has found this thing that she's good at that happens to be illegal but gives her a thrill, and
and how does she keep doing it?
For you, Zach, when you're writing this character, is that what you're putting into it, or how
Oh my
much?
gosh, I hope so. Am
How
I
much-
doing something completely
He's like,
different
she
than what
totally
you wrote
missed
it
the
down?
mark. This is not where it was.
She was 100% correct. That was very correct. No, that is very true. And like we think about Bruce and about Selena is like they both have a secret, and it's how much did they reveal to each other. And what's nice for our games is you get to put that on the wheel. You get to put that on a choice itself. And that's not normal for most of these Batman games in general. It's like there is one continuous path, and it's a risk for our players to make those choices to say like, I want to tell you more about myself, and Selena will give back as well.
Yeah.
And so like if you don't play it that way, you may get very little from Selena throughout the story, but if you decide to give more about Bruce and his backstory, she gives more of hers as well. And I liked her as a character because what she says is sometimes exactly what she's thinking, and a lot of times is not even close to what she's thinking. And so it's fun to when you're playing scenes with her because what she's saying, you have to kind of like outthink her. Like she's a couple steps ahead of you all the time, and that's what made the cafe scene in episode 1 I think so strong.
Oh, that was a great
that
scene.
like she was outthinking you, yeah,
Best
the
scene in
entire
episode,
way.
there's no
So.
question. That was.
It was just
That's like the best
unexpected,
moment.
right?
Yeah.
It was awesome to walk in and be able to talk to her in that way.
Yeah.
But so then, how are you, Brandon? And I want your canon save.
Okay,
How
yeah.
Are you playing
Save
it with
one.
Selena?
Um,
Save one.
Well, I like being really upfront with her. I actually really enjoyed. You went silent on that stream at Comic-Con when you did
Oh, yeah.
the playthrough, and I think that actually fits. And actually, I think more than any other character I've played in a Telltale game, silence really fits Bruce and Batman, and to the point where I'm not necessarily like trolling characters in the game by selecting it. I'm like, no, I don't have a comment there, and so I actually do kind of like the stone cold silence.
That
in
was the
scene.
thing. I mean, playing through Walking Dead season 1, I was like, why would Lee ever be? My Lee talks. This is what he does. He's nice and jovial.
But it is. I think that one of the reasons why I like it and why it's so much fun to get into conversations in this world is like I think the two of them fighting on the rooftop is like whatever they fight. You know, they'll recover from that in a week. They're good, but they might not recover from this conversation. You know, like this conversation might actually have more ramifications than any broken bone or dropping somebody off a building. Or
And
something.
that's the thing too, where it's like again with the handshake moment of I'm role playing as Bruce Wayne in this game, right? Because I am Batman. I'm Greg Miller. Then I'm playing as Batman, but then on top of that, I'm playing this character of Bruce Wayne. So to be then into that cafe scene, to sit down and drop the guise of Bruce Wayne and be there and be Batman without the mask, that's cool and that's psychological.
So different.
Yeah.
I wish we could do that all the time because that scene was really difficult to write. So silent, I should have just done that the entire way through.
Right?
It would have been really easy.
It really could make you could just fly through the whole episode and be done.
And Harvey's a great dynamic too, because he's kind of a knucklehead. He's kind of like oblivious to everything that's going on in the scene. Obviously, Bruce needs Harvey, for his own means, so he doesn't want to spoil this for Harvey. But you kind of got a sense that he's kind of being casual about it because he's like, "No way are you going to pick up what we're throwing down right now, Harvey." Like even if we said everything right in front of you, you'd be like, "Huh?" Like so, I kind of like it shows that Bruce and Harvey, do have this friendship, but it's not that strong. He doesn't trust him enough to give him this information.
Yeah, and that was the fun thing too of like having that backstory play out where when you show up at the party and you start talking to Harvey and you realize, oh, they're friends and they are this dynamic that you don't see enough of, I feel, anymore because obviously Harvey's character is so far along in the comics or in the movies, we know it's going to be. But to get there and have it be this friendship role, and then I was doing it when I'm playing that first time, I'm like, what does he know? What does he know? What does he know? What do I know?
It's my favorite Harvey since the animated series, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Take that home to him.
I agree.
Travis agrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then,
Travis will remember that.
is it fun for you then, Zach, as you're writing that, to play with those expectations? Because that's the thing is, I feel like we all thought we knew what the world and characters were going to be, and then when we got the pieces on the board, things started changing.
I think that's, especially for our first episode in a series, was really important, is to set what is our version of that story. Like, who's Harvey, who's Bruce, who's Oswald Cobblepot, who's Alfred.
Right.
And so that's what our 101 did, was set up who all these people are. And we started this story in a time when they haven't gone down the path of being Two-Face or being the Penguin, and it's very player determinate. You can push them kind of one way or the other. And that's what was fun, is you get to see Bruce and Harvey Dent just kind of like chatting it up and drinking at a party, and you don't normally see that. You get to see him hang out with Oswald Cobblepot in a park and they're buddies and they're kind of like childhood friends. That's totally different.
Yeah.
And so we lit a bunch of fuses in the first episode that are gonna pay off much larger in later episodes. So, but that's what was fun for me, was like, who Harvey Dent is gonna become, but maybe with your choices, he's not gonna be exactly that guy. So.
That's fast.
So the statue in the park, that's Oswald's one of his relatives or
Grandfather.
grandfather?
Yeah.
I like, again, I love how because again, I get very emotional when I experience anything Batman. I'm just like, okay, what are you doing? And or if you're going to ruin it, let me at least see what you're doing. Let me say, oh, okay, I see what direction you're taking this in. It might not be the direction that I would, like the story to go in. But I love that, Oswald's very different. We haven't seen, an Oswald like this. And I like that you see the statue of kind of what Oswald should look like kind of a more, a more portly sideburns, like an Oswald that kind of was more traditional of what the character. And so I love this kind of the 50-50 split between like what you're expecting and where the story's actually going.
Yeah, I mean, was that one of those, we talked about it before the episode came out, but now that we have a taste of it, I guess, is that what we should expect from all the Batman tropes you'd expect
Yeah,
to see?
we want to turn all of them on their heads, and I think especially for Cobblepot is that the Danny DeVito version is so strong. Like we knew exactly what that one was, and we wanted to take something that was completely different. So you didn't even know it was Oswald at first. It's a guy in a trench coat with like this crazy hair, and who is this guy? But what we liked about it was that we learned that Cobblepot's parents and Bruce's parents were very similar. They were kind of socialites in Gotham, and they both had traumatic events happen to them. Obviously, Bruce's parents were killed, and then something.
You really got to play episode 1.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you seen Titanic? The boat. I can ruin a bunch of other stuff right now too. But then Cobblepot is very much like Bruce, where he had a tragedy in his past as well. Like his parents were locked up, one of them died, and they just went in two very different directions. Bruce was going to use this for good, and Cobblepot's using it for evil. That's a very simple version of that.
Sure.
But we like that we were grounding both of their stories in Gotham City itself, and kind of where they came from and where they're heading. But again, it's up to you to choose how those characters play out.
For you, Selena,
Hi.
he mentions the Danny DeVito version. We talk about what we think the Penguin should look like, right? For Catwoman, for you, did you go back and read stuff, watch stuff, or was it just you wanted to go in and let it speak for itself?
I kind of wanted to go in and let it speak for itself, but
Yeah.
I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, come on. she's so awesome.
Yeah.
Anytime if I'm doing a line and in my head I can imagine her doing it, I'm like, but yeah, no. She's so standalone. All of the characters really are, so.
That's the hard part, is that everyone has expectations of what Batman is. Like you're saying, like you've read, I'm sure, and seen and watched and played about 100 different Batmans. Bruce's parents have died in an alleyway probably 30 times in front of your eyes. I think that's what's tough even with writing, is people are like, oh wait, I'm gonna write this Alfred or like this Bruce Wayne. We tried not to do that, like on the writing side, is we tried to like pay homage to all those characters, but then make it our own as well. So it didn't feel like it was just a puzzle pieces put together to make this game. It was like really like Telltale's own version of all these characters and story.
So then talk to me a little bit about the detective mode you guys use. That was something else I didn't expect, I don't think. When we got in there, again, the Rocksteady games, they had their detective mode. We've seen it in other things. But to get in there and reconstruct the crime scene and walk around and try to take clues and put them together, I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, I think you don't see that too much in the movies or the games in general, even though he came from being the world's greatest detective, and we wanted to actually grab that and run with it for this series. And that was a very, very design-heavy thing. We let our designers take that and put all the puzzle pieces together, and then as a writing team, we figured out that story in reverse. Like, what happened at the docks? How do you piece that information together? How does Batman use his tech to solve the problem? That was as difficult a challenge to write as it was probably to play as well. Potentially even more so to make it make sense. But that's just, we felt like that was lacking in a lot of series these days, was the detective aspect, and it's going to come back throughout the season as well, because we really want to play that up.
Did you like it?
Oh, I also love the context of that scene. Not only one thing that we haven't talked about that was extremely appreciated and different from a lot of Batman stuff we get is this game is extremely gory.
Yeah. When you dug into the dude's head, I was like, oh, it's still a Telltale game.
Yeah, but I like that. I thought that was very interesting. I like that he's kind of on a time crunch. Like the police come running in after you do after you put all the pieces together. You get a chance to be really brutal or be kind of passive. It's like we've seen Batman interrogate so many times. It's like, oh, I can do this. It hurts people. But you really think like, well, what part of your body do I want to hit? Like to really break it down, it doesn't seem so simple.
And I think too, for part of that is that I was mentioning earlier that like our choices are usually tied to a character as well. So you could be horribly brutal in that investigation when you're talking to that guy, or you can just talk to him as well. And then Gordon shows up, which is an unexpected repercussion of that. And that ending of that scene actually is very important to the rest of the series. Is he either views Batman as potentially a good guy and an ally, or like a vicious monster as well. So like whenever we're thinking about our choice space, we're going to tie it to a character that you're going to have a relationship with throughout the rest of the series, and you're going to get content and you're going to get scenes that you might or you might not, depending on what you've done. And like, it's funny because like when we played it at Comic-Con, there was like a bunch of people in the audience who were like, Batman would not break this guy's arm, and that's their Batman. They won't do that. But some guy like
Then there was
it's crazy.
90%
There
of
was
the audience that wanted
mentality,
blood.
Yeah. Like the little kids were just screaming like, "Kill him!" Like it was crazy. So like that was very exciting to us as well. Is that like the detective aspect? It's Batman. He's doing his job. But then it's like when you meet a bad guy, you meet this guy you're interrogating. What do you do then? Like you can go as simple as just trying to get information out of him, or you can beat the hell out of him. I think that's what's exciting to us as writers. I think is that like being able to have a Bruce Wayne who could be buttoned up at a gala in the first sequence, and then literally like 15 minutes later, like beating some guy with a pipe. Like I think that's that we're going to run the gamut with this character.
And even the comics, I think, you know, there is kind of like they hit the reset button when a new issue comes out, and it's like, well, Joker's back in Arkham, everything's kind of reset, they're just back, and they're just these characters. And so it is interesting to get the sense that like the more brutal you are, that's not going to go away. Like citizens will not forget that, police will not forget that, you know, certainly Falcone and the villains will not forget that.
Is that one of? I mean, for you know, I've played a lot. I'm sure everybody at the panel and this audience over here has played a lot of the Telltale games. Is this for? Do you view this as one of the ones that's deviating the most in terms of playthroughs? Because before it was like, you know, I'm Lee, I'm Clem, I'm doing this, I'll do that, and like there's little changes. Sure, I always talked about like a coloring book, right? We had the same picture, we just shaded it differently. But it really does feel like with this that if I'm going to be brutal Batman and Laura's going to be super nice Batman, we're going to get to a point where it's like, oh no, this isn't how it ended for me at all.
It's going to be definitely the most branched game that we've made, especially with the character relationships, which I think we're doubling down on this one because plot points, like, you know, the story could be slightly different, but people don't really respond to that. It's like, does Catwoman want to come see me, or does Catwoman hate me? That feels a lot worse than like, did I go to the bank or did I go to the grocery store? You know what I mean? Like, although Batman at the grocery store sounds like an amazing scene.
Yeah,
Either, right?
that should
I don't know,
probably
yeah.
happen.
There's no carrots or whatever. You know, I don't know. But that's why we put again these I keep coming back. We put the choices on the characters because like there may be scenes later where Batman's like, I need your help, Catwoman, and she's
I'm
like,
screw you.
exactly. She says it.
Just like that, nailed it.
Screw
Yeah,
you.
screw you.
That's
But
actually
that-
how we recorded.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
That's why I love Batman is the characters. That's
Yeah.
my favorite. You know, the style is great, the gadgets and the action and everything. But just the interesting relationships when you really dig deep and find out what's going on underneath the surface. You know, there's amazing books they've written on psychology of all of these villains. It seems really cut and dry, but like they're very complex, realistic characters. Like there's people, you know, unfortunately like these people that are, you know, on planet Earth walking around. Yeah.
There's a Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze is out there. He doesn't have the science yet, but he's out there somewhere.
What I like about it is these characters, and what I enjoyed, and you already brought up, is the fact of taking Bruce and dropping him into that park with Cobblepot, right, and having it look different. And the fact that you're taking these characters and putting them in situations I don't think we're familiar with putting them in. And we have a scene to show, and it's a very similar thing where it's a casual Bruce Wayne, which I wasn't expecting either. So let's see this clip.
Selina, I need to tell you something important.
You should have just killed me on that rooftop.
You can't just leave. Innocent people will end up in the line of fire.
Bruce, sweetie. The gallant knight thing, it really is adorable. But what would Harvey think? The two of us working together. After all,
Selina Kyle, Penguin says hello.
I'm not really an all work and no play kind of girl.
Seduction. Bruce Wayne in a hoodie.
I like it.
I mean, spoilers. That is a dance-off.
Oh, that's how it comes in? They do the bat dance? And
They
do
run
the-
up and then they just
We
start
motion
dancing.
captured all of it.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Now, Laura Bailey,
What?
thank you so much for coming. It's a
Hey,
pleasure.
thank-
No, it's a
thank-
pleasure. Don't worry.
thanks.
It's great to have you. Right there, we get a look at, I think, what we think of Catwoman, right? She's on the fence. She's getting ready to leave, it sounds like. I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening in the scene. I wasn't in the booth.
It's true.
Is that,
Can you take it at face level? You don't know.
Is that your playthrough?
You don't know. Keep going.
is that fun to play or hard to play? A character that operates in the gray area, right? Because we were talking before, like, if Catwoman's ever put with the rogues, you're like, no, that's not really where she belongs. She's somewhere in the middle here.
She's neutral. She's true neutral.
True neutral.
She's not lawful good. She's not chaotic evil. She's right there in the middle.
Is that fun to play?
Yeah. If you, it's the most fun to play somebody who's like the anti-hero, right? Somebody who does bad things, but they also do good things. That way you get to play both sides of the fence.
No offense.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And she's helpful, I think, for Batman because there's some people who are gonna like. I think the first choice with with Batman and with Catwoman is she's like, why do you do this?
Yep.
And it was kind of, we wanted, again, to set expectations that this is going to be different. You can say, like, I'm doing it for Gotham, yay.
you're like, oh, great.
And she can then dismiss that, which is really, like, that's the best part about Catwoman is that, like, she's not doing it for good, really. She's not doing it for evil, really. She's right down the middle, which is perfect for our games as well, because as I said, you don't know what she's thinking. And for Batman, it's like, she can push him either way. And push him down the dark side or push him into the good side as well. And, like, I think that just makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah. She could be really vulnerable, and she's just playing this like catty sort of thing because she doesn't want to reveal it.
What I don't like about it is the fact
What?
that well, the voice. But what I don't like about it, I'm kidding. You're very good. You're very good. Okay, my apologies. No, what I like about it is that you set the expectation now that nothing's sacred, right? Like when it initially comes up that the Wayne family might have been involved with Falcone, right? Like, no way, not even possible.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And then at the end, it happens. You're like, oh, mother, God, what are you doing to the Wayne legacy, sir? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing of like, it seems like the traditional Catwoman so far. Okay, she's going to be in this gray area and do it neutral. Maybe she is playing with my emotions. Maybe she has her own head games. But like, I worry what that's going to play out like in episode 3, 4, 5, where we go with that character and what happens to her.
Yeah, and it's especially with the Wayne family legacy, like that was the hook initially. That was the original pitch for the season, because we have, as I said, we've seen every crime alley that has ever been made and every possible iteration of it. We've seen so many different versions of Batman, but we hadn't seen this, oddly enough. We hadn't seen one where the reason he became Batman is now in question. And that was like a really exciting place to start our story. It's like, well, what do you do when the thing that's the most important to you has been taken away? Like who are you going to become in that situation? And it's kind of a hard speaking of reset, it's a hard reset for like the city in a lot of ways. Like basically all these villains are coming into themselves. We have Catwoman, who's not exactly a villain. We have Harvey Dent. We have Oswald Cobblepot. At the same time, Bruce is questioning why he's even here in the first place. That is a great place to start for 8 more hours of content. You know, like it just opens up the world of like, well, what do you do now when everything is in question, when everything is gray?
And you don't have the answer. They start to throw these accusations at you, and you're like, I don't know. I guess I just got to trust my parents on this one. Like, And so that I think was the most uncomfortable that I felt during part 1, is being like, I want to stand up for my parents, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, like that. I'm like reading a little bit into the writing. It's like they probably are crooked. I see what you're doing, Telltale, but like, you know, we'll see. I mean, I might have made a wrong choice.
Yeah,
I might
Me
have made
too.
them crooked by pressing B. Whoops.
I was just looking for the option of just like, they're old and dead. Who cares? Does it really matter? I'm building this thing with. Yeah, just silence. Yeah, I made this house. We're gonna fix Arkham. Doesn't matter what's happening anymore. Brandon, what do you want as a Batman
pressure.
fan?
So much pressure. I want them to be redeemed. I mean, that's terrible. It's like it was one of the last like sacred things that we've had to hold on to. You know, it's like all these terrible things happen. You know, Batgirl winds up in a wheelchair, but at least we have Thomas and Martha, and like they're going slipping through my fingers.
There you go.
So yeah, I want to try to fix that. I like save 1 is my Batman save. It's where I try to make, and I thought that was going to be super easy. I thought it was like, oh come on, I've been reading these for so long. Just throw a question at me, and like I was really struggling with like, boy, I don't know, because I'm not Batman right now. I'm Bruce, and everyone's looking at me. You know, and so I think seeing if I can do that, seeing if I can and wrap it up, you know, and I'm sure I'll be satisfied with the story. But like, am I happy the way, you know, would I want this to be my Batman? If this story continued and I read that comic for years and years, would I still keep reading it? You know, would I still be interested in this hero?
That's what's scary, is I'm making the choices as my Batman. And then what if we do get 3 episodes in? I'm like, oh man, I screwed this up.
Way to go, idiot.
Yeah, stupid Batman.
But I think too is that like even if you can't change some of the things, like some things you just are unchangeable. That's how life goes. But you can potentially come to terms with what happened. You know, so it's going to be interesting is that you as a player in person are going to have to come to terms with that as well. Like maybe Bruce can in the story, but maybe you have to, or maybe he has to, just as life would go. You know, it's an interesting role-playing space for us to play with too.
It's deep. It's deep.
It's too deep. You know, I can leave now.
Oh, yeah, you nailed it. Swish.
Yeah.
Get on out of there. Where did you go with the evidence? Vicky Vale or Gordon?
I went to Gordon.
Really? I went Vale.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, bias over years and years and years. Of just like I'm gonna put my chips on that side of the table.
I was like, he's just a lieutenant. He's still so low. There's still so much corruption above him.
Well, I mean, that's
And I want to marry Vicky Vale.
and well, right. And that's the trick, is that I kind of have to separate in my brain. Like, am I making this decision based on what you've told me about Gordon, or am I making it based or am I making it based on what, you know, this innate trust that I've just developed for Gordon that is going to get me into trouble. See, now I've made the wrong decision. Thanks, Greg.
Well, when you see me and Vicky getting married, you'll understand. So we talked a little bit about how much I love the Harvey-Bruce dynamic, right? But there is this Selina component that we haven't talked about in terms of, you know, we watched the video earlier and she makes this whole thing about them working together, and like, historically there is the Batman Catwoman attraction.
Right.
How are you writing it in terms of Telltale, and how are you performing it, this love triangle that you guys have going on?
So that's something we're definitely exploring in this season. Is we have Vicky Vale, we have Selena Kyle, we have Bruce Wayne, and now actually it's almost then we have Harvey Dent as well. So there's a lot of people.
Now it's Love Square.
Now it's Love Square, which is a whole new concept we're introducing here. No, but there is the possibility of this in our series. I think it's one of the first times that we're doing that as well, and. Again, it's going to be based on your investment in these characters, and it's going to be mutually exclusive. Obviously, it's like, do you as Batman, do you kind of side with Selena, or are you going to talk more to Vicky Vale? And they're going to add up throughout the season, and I think that was exciting for us writing it because it just added another level to your role playing. You know, you're not just there to save Gotham and to write your family name, but also there's characters that you care about, and who do you want to spend more time with? It's literally as simple as that. But those are going to have ramifications that are beyond the personal level. That's going to, Vicky Vale's a reporter and Selena Kyle is Catwoman. That's going to ripple out into both sides of Bruce's life.
Are you gonna screw with your friend Harvey, or?
And that's the thing, is like when I walk up to the cafe scene and I see Selena with Harvey, I'm like, I don't believe this. She's just trying to milk him for money or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But like, it's not confirmed in episode 1. Like, are you having fun playing with that? Because like even Selena's being different with Harvey, being more lovey-dovey.
Well, yeah.
Putting on an act, and then we get real Selena talking to Bruce.
Everything she does is an act too, just like Batman.
So many acts, I can't keep up with it all.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Bruce is so different than anything else she's come across that it's fun to get to be herself for herself.
Yeah.
For that amount of time.
Well, I mean, if we really want to make a love square, we got to open up the Bruce Harvey relationship.
Oh yeah,
you know,
there's
I mean,
a bromance for
no one's explored that.
This is
you know,
true,
I mean,
I mean-
you know that. Love blossoms on the battlefield. I don't know. I mean, that could work out, you know?
I've known Travis and Troy a long time. They've explored it. I can assure you.
say that.
I can assure you it's been explored once or twice. But yeah, like, where are you coming down right now? I mean, I like Vicky Vale. I gave her the evidence. I'm sticking with Vicky Vale.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You're missing
Greg,
out.
because, I mean,
You are
well,
missing
arguably, no one of all of those central characters knows the least other than Vicky. I mean, she's completely in the dark. So I know she could end up being the Riddler or something. Who knows what you guys are doing? I feel nervous putting all of this stake in her when she's so clearly talking to Batman and doesn't realize it. You know, it's like whereas there's a certain. I mean, there's definitely a danger to Catwoman, but there's also the street smart. There's also I think more of a kinship. I think I could use Vicky Vale for my own means, where I could actually be somewhat on par with Catwoman. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
She's on your level.
But maybe you know,
know?
Vicky can be the lighthouse and bring Bruce back to the shore. You know what I mean?
Catwoman can be that too. Selena, you don't know. You don't know.
I don't know, but I think I know.
You don't know.
But I think I know, and so I'm making my choices based on that, Laura.
Your funeral.
It will be. It will. I don't like her either. So we're talking about Vicky in the context of the evidence. Talk to me a bit about your Gordon, because we didn't get to see a lot of him, but he did pop up.
Yeah, and I think one other theme that's kind of been prevalent in this series is it's early on. It is Batman's early years, so with Vicky Vale and with Gordon, he's Lieutenant Gordon right now. He's not commissioner, and Vicky Vale was just a reporter. And Bruce and Batman, it's his maybe first couple of years doing it. You can tell that there's a mythos around him, but and not many people know what Batman is doing. And we wanted to explore that with Gordon as well. You know, what are if you double down on Gordon and you give him this information, is that going to make him commissioner somewhere down the road? I don't know. But we really like that all the cards were on the table for him too, and you were able to play with that. You trust the police because they're shooting at you in the first episode. They think you may be in some capacity a villain, because you've been a vigilante and that is illegal technically. And how does Gordon feel about that? And your decisions are going to inform that. If you break the guy's arm, Gordon, and then you disappear on him right afterwards, which is a very Batman move, he is not going to be happy with you later in the season.
Yeah, the ones where I was rough and then Gordon popped over, I was like, I'm sorry. Bye. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Dad.
Okay, bye.
I don't mean to piss you off. Bye. Take care of Barbara, who I assume is there too.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
But that is interesting. I can't recall any like Batman story I've read where you pit Vicky Vale and Gordon against each other. You know, like there's not two characters you really see as like trying to make a decision between either or. But it is kind of fascinating when Bruce and Batman doesn't know them. You know, it doesn't really have a relationship to build on, and so you got to start somewhere.
You build it, you know. It's like, and this was, we kept it as simple as like, one is who do you trust more, and then also, is it the media that you think can take down Falcone, or do you think it is actually the police? Like it's as simple as that right off the bat. But then as you said, you're starting the first bit of investment in that character. And
No
in
way
that
the police can
relationship.
do it. The police can't do it.
There's no way.
No way.
There's no way.
You picked wrong. I gave it to Vicky.
You're looking for the short fix.
Maybe Vicky.
You
will
know,
be
you're
police
looking for
commissioner.
you want Gotham to be saved tomorrow, Greg. It's not that simple.
It's true.
You got to invest long haul.
As Taylor
You
Swift said,
you gotta install that bat
Band-Aids
signal.
don't fix bullet holes. Perhaps I went with the.
Especially not the first bullet hole in this story, for sure. No Band-Aid's gonna fix that.
Nothing can fix that bullet hole.
Gordon just puts a little. Yeah. It's a Hello Kitty for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah.
So Brandon, being a big Bat fan, what was your take on the things we come to expect with Batman, the Batmobile, the Batcave?
Love the Batmobile. I'm always a fan of a Batmobile that fits in a single lane of traffic. That's like a stick that I have. Like in every Batman movie, he's like, well, I'm just going to escape the scene, and it's like there's no traffic. There's nobody on the sidewalk in any of the films when he's like driving around.
It's too dang big. I like the camouflage and all the abilities.
So I like the, you actually did a very good job introducing that at Comic-Con. You were like, that's how we do when it was like making the transformation. Yeah, I love that. And I was actually commenting earlier that, I love the Batcave. I love the style of the suit. I'm actually kind of averse to like a metallic Batman. I don't like tank Batman. But I think this is like kind of a happy medium where you see like kind of the necessity of the tools that he has and how
I'm
those are
fan
like
of the
built into
shorty
his suit.
ears. I like the tri-weave or whatever.
I'm glad we're now in the robot voice Batman era. Yes. I'm glad that makes so much sense. I'm glad that like we've graduated to that. It's very smart. I hope we never go back.
When we looked at all these things, especially the Batcave and the Batmobile and the Bat voice, which were like three iconic things of the series, we wanted to figure out like what makes sense for that. Okay, if he's gonna try and scare bad guys, he should like turn on a voice modulator that like makes him sound more demonic potentially. And if Batman has to do bat things in Gotham, he shouldn't have to drive back to the Batcave, get his Batmobile, and then come back out again. You know, so that's why we came up with the transforming Batmobile. Like we kind of just tried to figure out a way that all these kind of peculiar things about Batman made sense to us.
We've talked about every character but one, Alfred.
This pencil pushing
who
geek
I
who
felt-
knew that he knew about this whole relationship with the Falcones.
Or supposedly, yeah, he knew something. I mean, he definitely knew, and that's understandable. As a fan, I can appreciate that there's some stuff that Alfred, it's like Harry Potter syndrome. It's like, I'm not gonna tell you everything.
Yeah.
But I felt was surprisingly kind of subdued. Like I mean, as like a uber Batman fan, I'm picking up all sorts of crazy nuances, and I have all sorts of questions about their relationship. But like, Selina, very shocking. Like having Harvey in there, obviously, having them meet, and to discover each other, and like obviously seeing like where Harvey's gonna go. There's like the tenuous situation with Oswald because they know each other, and he's just kind of functioning with Alfred right now.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of turmoil there, but they haven't really blown up, and that just seems like a fuse just waiting to go.
Yeah. I feel like that's where
I'm
episode 2
excited
should
to
start,
see
right?
that. Yeah, I'm waiting for that moment. Like, oh, here's the scene. Okay, here we go.
Is it hard to like listen to their responses and keep a straight face without revealing anything?
He's like, oh, man, we didn't even talk about Alfred.
Yeah, because I know. I think what's interesting about Alfred and in this version at least is that we almost initially kicked the players in the teeth with like your house is getting raided, like Bruce, like Catwoman steals something from, like so many bad things are happening to him like right off the bat. We kind of wanted a somewhat safe place, which happens to be a dark, scary cave with bats in it, and this old man. It's really weird, But we wanted Alfred to be obviously the father figure that he is, in lieu of his parents being there. So when you come to the scene when it's Bruce and it's Alfred in the Batcave, we want him to just be like, he is there to support you no matter what. If he's trying, obviously he gives some of your themes. He's trying to like make you a better man throughout the story. But at the same time, it's like it does feel like a father-son relationship. You can rebel against him or you can agree with him. But we were playing it somewhat safe initially because we were going to reveal at the end of the first episode that he may have known more than he's ever told you about your parents. In fact, he actually does lie to you in the first episode, saying your parents were never friends with Falcone, and then you learn that they were. So that's a big part of the rest of the 8 hours that you'll have to play.
Jerk.
Yeah, everybody's a jerk. It's a city full of jerks.
Aw, man.
But all different kind of jerks.
Selina's really nice.
She's a neutral
She doesn't
jerk.
seem like it.
She's so nice.
Doesn't seem like it. Seems like she's using everybody. Just putting that out there. Hardest choice in the game.
Hardest choice in the game, as I said before, was speaking on behalf of my parents without knowing that they, without with really having that little like the devil on one shoulder being like, you know they're bad, you know it. I'm like, no. Yeah. Having a cover for my dead parents was rough every time.
Do you want me to call Travis right now and find out what his hardest choice was?
Yeah, go do it.
Yeah.
We'll wait.
Okay. I really do want to call him right now. Hold on.
Do you have his number?
It's my first favorite.
Oh, they're in love.
Thanks.
Now will he answer?
Oh my God! If he doesn't, I'm gonna. I went straight to voicemail. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he hit ignore.
I feel like
Let's pretend they can't hear the other side. Just pretend, be like, oh.
Oh my God! That part with he said the parent thing too.
Oh, cool. Good get.
What's gonna suck is like playing it and then knowing that I'm not gonna get to hear some of the fun stuff that we did.
I know
That's
that is
really hard.
I think that is one of the tough things about this is that you're writing a 2-hour game and only. Actually, you're technically writing 4 versions of that game because there are 4 choices up on the wheel at any point in time. Yeah. So you're writing 4 versions of this Batman story that all have to be cohesive no matter which way you choose. And at the same time, 3/4 of that is never seen.
Right.
And so that's like when you were talking about the cafe scene and choosing silent all the way at Comic-Con.
Right.
I was there like, oh, this is like, one of our writers, Shannon Ingalls, wrote that scene and it was awesome. And I was like, I can't wait to see how they react to it. And then you were like, silent, silent, silent. And so, which was great. It totally worked out, which was awesome. But at the same time, there was 3 times many other 3s. Choices that were you never saw and you never played, and so that's what's interesting about our games too, is that like it's the choices you make, but it's also the choices you don't make. You know what I mean? Like you're missing out on so much as well. And I think every time you press the button, you should be like, oh, I should have chosen that other thing. You know?
Are you ready to go to the audience with questions?
Yeah. Okay.
You don't have to actually move. We give them a microphone.
Oh well, there you go.
So for the Batman Telltale series, how is the development any different from, say, another Telltale game? I know you usually do like episode by episode. You don't have everything done and then release them one at a time. You pretty much do the first episode and you're working on the next ones afterwards. So is there any difference because of what you're working with here, where it might be different from any previous games you've done?
Yeah, it's pressure is the difference. I think on this one is that like Batman is so well known that like when we stepped into the DC world, we were like, well, everyone's gonna be looking at this game. We need to think more clearly about it and kind of make our choices. One, set who we are in this version, but at the same time, like as I said before, pay homage to what Batman has become. But what we do like doing is live development, where we'll figure out the first episode, we'll write it, we'll put it together, and at the same time, we're projecting where the rest of the season could go, kind of knowing if you make the choice, are you brutal or not? Like those choices, and how do they ripple out throughout the rest of the season? So we're kind of like figuring out what that's going to do. At the same time, we put like a target of what the 5th episode, what our final episode is going to be. But at the same time, so much changes in development that we need to be flexible with that as well. You know, as we're writing it, even in the booth, we come up with new lines and better versions of it. That then when an episode's in the can, we move on to the next one as well and continue developing it. Like we're still trying to hit that target at the very end, because we know, and when you're writing a story, the inciting incident of Bruce Wayne's family is potentially corrupt. That needs to ripple out, and it needs to be what the ending of the game is about as well.
What else do we have from the audience?
All right, so it sounds like with every character, you've taken what a lot of people perceive as who the character is, and you've applied your own twist. So with each character, are they going to break our hearts similar to other Telltale games as well throughout the rest of the season?
Yes. Next question.
Damn! Oh no! Don't break our hearts. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do to you? Do you know, how far ahead of you do you know right now?
I mean, we're on episode 3. We've recorded episode 3.
All right.
I know, so it's hard when you're asking me questions. I'm like, yeah.
We know you live that long.
Well, we know she's still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
All right.
I shouldn't have said that. Did I spoil it?
Well, you can potentially be alive.
Potentially, I could be alive.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Every save's different.
I'm gonna try to kill you.
It's true. No, it's so true.
Next question.
For the two of you just playing the game, what is the twist you're hoping for in somewhere in the rest of the series?
Well, this is terrible because I'm way into advertising and trailers and such. We know we're going to get the second episode that's going to build the characters, and like you know, something horrible's going to happen with Harvey. I wonder what, and you know, something like maybe like they'll save Penguin, you know, for part 3. But you know, you're going to get that Telltale trailer for part 3 or part 4. It's going to have a little laughter right at the end. And I really like that, and I really respect that. It's you know, it's like when they make an X-Men movie, they got to get Wolverine in there right away. You know, and I bet it was like really tempting. It's like, let's just get Joker in there. Come on, just right away. You know, because everybody loves Joker. I love that he's not there. I love that we don't get this rogues gallery right away. You don't throw all of these characters at us. And so yeah, those are the big twists that I'm just kind of like, you know, looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, being like, when are they going to parse out these?
It's got to be the last
characters?
episode, right? To tease, like, I assume a season 2. I assume this thing's.
I don't know.
Is this performing Telltale? Is this a game that's selling that you might make another one? We're gonna get thumbs up that it's.
Because as a Batman fan, if you try to float Joker as like a smaller character, I really respect that. It's cool. Again, it's doing something that people haven't done. You know, maybe having him there, that like they bump into, you know, the pre-Joker and don't realize it. Don't you know? As a person experiencing the story for the first time, you don't really think anything of that character. But you know, longtime fans are like.
Yeah, that's going to become something interesting. Yeah, that's the thing with when you talk about like twists. Like I don't know. Like I'm so into seeing what Telltale does with it on their own in terms of it. I mean, they've already started turning things ahead. I think it'll be awesome if Harvey never becomes Two-Face. You know what I mean? Or if it is one of those things where my decisions can keep that from happening in this season, that'd be awesome to see how that plays out.
I think the ultimate way to screw with a Batman fan is to turn Batman into a separate character, like have him become Deathstroke or something crazy, or like have another character become a different villain. You know, like I've seen a lot of like parallel universes in the DC universe do that, where like other people become the Joker or you know other characters. That'd be fun. So
good. You had a good answer.
Yeah, it's a tough question to ask because like they're still writing it. So you're just like
he's like, oh,
I'm like,
just stop talking, please.
Taking notes over here.
Hey, people like Joker.
If you just do silent options,
Invisible.
you become the Joker.
Invisible notes on here.
That's good. All right,
Zach, Laura, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us here on Batman Unmasked. Thank you, of course, for watching back home. It's time for us to go, but that means it's time for you to get ready to play Batman, the Telltale series, episode 2, available soon, right? Is that the deal? That's another thumbs up from Telltale. Sometime it'll be out. You go play that, and then we'll put up a new video like this with different people where we talk about those decisions. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.